All right. Okay. Here with the clutch minister, now the assistant coach minister, I guess, of MOUZ, Xyp9x. How are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing good.
When you first came into the team, start of 2024 or so, you initially said that, you wanted to get some experience coaching. You weren't quite ready for the head coach roles. You had some offers. And back then you said that you were working a lot more on the analytics side and, the performance bits. Can you tell me about what that's been like for you since then and, over the course of the last year or so?
So it's right that I did say that I'm looking for experience. I'm looking to evolve myself. I think in this space, everything changes quite quickly as well. For me personally, I've been in a really great position where, I don't really have to take a job. I don't have to do something, but do what I like to do. And I went in with this mindset as well of, if I don't like it, I'm not gonna stay in it. Working on this side of the fence, so to say, with the players, and I've been in the shoes of the players. I know what they're feeling. I know exactly how they're feeling in this very moment, now that it's the day before we play the playoffs. Nerves are starting to tickle in, and it's just, I think I bring value to a team that not many other coaches or assistant coaches do, because I have that experience. And I think that's valuable to any player or any team or any staff. When I initially joined, I was more fly on the wall. Let's see where my strengths are, what I can contribute to the team. And MOUZ has allowed this process to not be like, oh, you have to do this, you have to go this direction, we need you here. This also shows to me that MOUZ and Dennis Sycrone has some qualities that I don't see in other teams, where you get an analyst and he gets to do a prep 10 hours a day and that's it. There is more nuance to it. And using your strengths is using the strengths of your staff or people around you is the ultimate strength you can have as a coach. So I really like it here in MOUZ so far.
I want to pick up on 2 points you said there. First of all, you said that Dennis helps with some of these qualities. Can you explain more about how he brings that out of you and in general what you mean by that?
I think what Dennis is really good at is making the structure and making topics. So I see from a lot of teams, and thinking back of how other coaches did it from my playing time, I believe they're all over the place. I think him utilizing our strengths to get the goal is what makes him a really good coach. And
so more structured.
More structured, more just very also hardworking. I think he works the hardest of any coach I've seen. And I think you need to do this as a coach. I think you need to put in the hours because of how also the meta develops right now. It's very individual based, but you have to make it a team game. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of playmakers in the team. He utilizes also us in that regard that, okay, strategic wise, I need to keep this player in check. I need to sort out how he plays in this certain position or how it is. And I think he's just really good at giving up the control. As a coach, you want to have the control, but giving up it is tough. How
do you actually take your experience and share that with the team? If you have any examples, because there's been a lot of times, you were known as a big brain player, you were known for your clutches, you were known for thinking about the game a lot and being able to play into those situations. But not everyone's able to take that, experience and the way they think in game and help share that or translate that over. So how do you do that?
I think there is 2 things to it. There is recognizing players' behavior and recognizing when they feel a certain way. A lot of the players don't really come forward with their feelings or they try and tuck it away. So realizing that at first, seeing okay, this guy is actually feeling nervous. Can I go talk to him? What is the approach? But what I tend to do is to bring a more ease atmosphere, like showing that he can be nervous. It's okay to be nervous. I also got nervous when I was playing. It's not something that you can just fix overnight. It's something continuously you, as a person, as an individual, has to take control over. I cannot sit there and say, hey, in my days I did this. It's not going to work on them because we're not all equal. But I can try and say to them, okay, I see you right now. You're maybe not at your best. Maybe you're a little bit nervous. Maybe just to, okay, if he says no, he's probably not open for feedback. Maybe I was right, but there's nothing more I can do then.
Yeah. They have to be receptive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in general, there is not a recipe for saying, hey, I did this, maybe you should try that. It's always like
it's like more holistic. Like,
yeah, exactly. And when you said that word, it just got me to think of what MOUZ is really about. It's a holistic experience, and this is what sets MOUZ apart from other teams.
When you signed, you told us that we probably wouldn't see your full potential for half a year or so. Do you feel like that's realized now?
I still think there is growing for me to do inside MOUZ. I do think that for me, I start to get more under the skin of the processes and also get my stuff inside the team, right? I wouldn't do it here at the major. It's something that we do back home. It's some structural parts. It's some, okay, how do we practice? How do we set up games? Like the whole prep part. But also for me, I know how it is to sit before a big game, sitting doing 3 hours of prep. You can get really cooked. And I just think that some teams, I won't mention any teams' names, but I think some teams do overcook it. And that leaves for people to have too much input in their brain. And this is sometimes what can be the problem with prep, right? So,
like information overload almost. Right?
Yeah. I mean, we all know it when our head spins around because a lot of stuff has happened during the day or whatever. It's the same kind of feeling you could get as a player, and if you cannot act in the moment based on your intuition, you're not going to play a good game.
You were talking a little about how individual CS is right now with how many players need to make individual decisions. Obviously, you're a part of Astralis, one of the most team coordinated rosters in history, basically. In terms of how you've seen the game develop now and this focus on individuals, what are you seeing with the meta and just how that focus has shifted?
Yeah, I mean, it brings a tear to my eye that team CS is not a thing anymore, because I mean, it's not that I think that CS should be played that way, but it's more that we had the success of Astralis because of that. And I don't think necessarily there is a right or wrong in terms of how much individual it should be, how much team game it should be. I think we still see a team game played for example, Navi. I think we also play a good team game. We do have individuals like Xyp9x, our playmaker, and Brollan also has his moments, right? It's very micro detail when talking about individual CS compared to team CS, because I think they are kind of alike. Like being individual based CS with the right structure in place can also be a team game.
Yeah.
The meta is not anymore that everything has to go from A to Z. And we have these steps because people are smart enough now. Mm-hmm. I think in Astralis Prime, we had a really advantage because we did prep heavy. Like we were prep heavy. I can tell you that we had those 3-4 hour sessions of prep. And but they were good given out because all the teams didn't do prep themselves, or they did the same things over and over again. Yeah. And that's why it probably paid off, but this is not the case anymore.
The game's become obviously a lot more prep heavy. Like there's other tools as well, like Skybox Edge. I know that basically every top team uses it, and it's just become a lot easier to, see the way teams are playing and study more demos than before. When it comes to that and you're doing all this research before games, how do you actually share that information with players? Because as you said, sometimes it can be information overload. Sometimes, you don't want to give everything because it's going to be overwhelming. So how do you go about that?
Rarely do I actually, in a group setting, talk to the players about that, because I relay a lot of my information to Dennis. When I was thinking of doing this interview, I was also thinking, how much am I gonna talk about our structural parts? And especially for the assistant coach role, I think there is not a lot of interviews, there's not a lot of data of what do we do. Yeah. And I think it's also very different from team to team. What kind of role do they have? I don't want to sit here and spill beans, right? I mean, it's essentially what gives us some advantage is what we do, and I don't want to give that to the teams. So it's always an ongoing process of how much can we do? From my part, I really like to be prep heavy. I was one of the most, when I was a player, I watched the most of probably all the players, and also contributed a lot in terms of, we can do this.
You were talking earlier about, teams, I guess, being more prep heavy, but also, trying to see what they did before and then change it up. And it's become a bit of a topic in terms of how many events are happening, and some teams, going to every event, and some teams not as many. Like Vitality are picking and choosing their events. I know Astralis back in the day never, picked certain events to attend over others. That was, not really a thing, right? But when Astralis is picking, whether to attend Blast events or whether to go to certain, how often to travel to tournaments as well and avoid burnout, how have you seen that evolve now? Because, the circuit has become busy again.
Yeah. I think we'll see the top heavy teams skipping a little bit more in the second part of the season. Just because now we kind of know how the VRS is functioning. I do think MOUZ and Vitality played kind of the same tournaments. And I do think that we could have skipped one event probably in this season. But there's also the major cutoff date. And all the teams are thinking of that major cutoff date. That's where they have to gain the points. After the major cutoff date, they can relax a little bit before going into the major, right? And just looking at it from my perspective is also going to be probably the same as this season, where a lot of teams will go to probably all the events. We are in this grind mentality where skipping out, or FOMO, call it whatever you want, right? Where you really want to be in every tournament to gain those VRS points. And I hope for some teams to start taking a little bit more care, because I see this going in a wrong direction. And we actually talked about it on a team. I think we'll see burnouts coming in, just solely because, look at Aurora, they attended every tournament there was probably. We as a team need to take care of our players, but essentially it's also on Valve and on the whole ecosystem to create a sustainable schedule.
Yeah. Turning the attention back to you and MOUZ a little bit, you've obviously worked a lot with Sycrone. I just wanted to get, your perspective on how it's been working with Brollan with this transition to IGL, and what your contribution and how you've worked with Sycrone during this whole process. What's that been like?
Initially, when Dennis told me that we would consider Brollan for the IGL, I was a bit skeptical. Probably as the whole community were, because I didn't think of it myself. Then I told Dennis, okay, let's look at it, just from a analytical part. What can we bring out of Brollan? What qualities does he have? It turns out that some of the qualities are exactly what an IGL should have. He does have the skill of bringing the group together. Mm-hmm. From looking at the outside, you don't really see it. But when Ludwig speaks, a lot of people are listening to him because he's really clever and he's smart about the game. So for me, there were two qualities there where that's what we want in an IGL. And then you can talk about the negatives, but I do think that looking outside of our team or looking at the market, it's not really, there's not really a lot of candidates. You could see it with a lot of other teams trying to sort out the IGL position and how is the market like? It's not really good right now. It's not been for many years. I'm really happy that it managed to work out because I had my doubts as well. In terms of how I contributed into that specific change, I would say it was more on Dennis, on creating him, and I would say also on Ole, our sports psychologist, because changing a role in the team is, I mean, it's more about leadership. It's more about how do you go around with the players, and how do you, one of probably his obstacles is his communication.
In what way?
Just getting his points across. Let's say that he wants to go over a strategy or the whole plan. I do think he has all the plans in his head, but getting them out. This is about leadership. Like, if I have a plan in my head and I need to explain it to you, I need to make sure you're understanding the plan. But there's also, like, there's 5 other players or 4 other players that needs to have that explained fully. And if they don't understand it, it's on you. That's where he probably comes short a little bit sometimes. But he has the plan, he has the mindset for it.
How do you feel like that's developed over time, or how are you working to develop that? Because I know at this event, but also at a few other events I've been in, on broadcast, you also hear Turchi speaking a lot, you see his exertion speaking a lot. When you're seeing it happen in freeze time as well, and a lot more conversations happening outside of that, it does sometimes seem like a lot of the initiative or some of the calling is also coming from those 2 players. But I've also watched the comms videos from MOUZ, and you have them, praising Brollan for, nice call, Lude, etc. So how's that come along?
I think if you see probably most of the top teams, you'd have one player like Xyp9x who's taking up a lot of freeze time. I think for Falcons it's probably Nico, just to give an example. And I think in practice it will also be Xyp9x taking a lot of space, especially on the CT side where he is that kind of playmaker. On T side, Ludwig gives the direction. I want to end the round here. I want to toy with them in this way. And from practice, we've already practiced a lot of things. And Dory Xyp9x knows I can do this kind of variation. But because Ludwig isn't playing his spots, he doesn't know what the CTs have been doing this round or in this game especially. And that means that Dory now knows the overall theme of the round, but he makes it his own round, right? Because Ludwig can say, yeah, you have to, let's say nuke, for example, you have to make it to secret by 10 seconds. But he cannot, because they play it in a certain way that makes him unable to do that. So he does it in his own way, and that means that he takes over the micro calling of the round.
I guess talking more about your role in all of this and how that's come along, back when you first signed, you said that you potentially want to do head coaching in the future. Is that still something in your mind, or are you more happy with the kind of role you have as an assistant coach, and what's kind of your future plan in terms of that sense?
I really enjoy it here in MOUZ. I think for my part, it's more about if I'm getting challenged, if I feel like I'm evolving, I said this as a player, and it's probably the same here. If I don't feel like I'm enjoying my work, or if I'm not happy going to work, I don't want to do it. And for this part, I do really enjoy it here. I do think that I'm developing as a assistant coach and in my role.
But it's still something you'd potentially want to explore in the future.
Yes, I would say so. But the time frame, I don't know at all. Yeah.
In terms of that, I also just wanted to ask you about, Astralis and how they've come along recently, because they brought in HLTV. They were struggling for quite a while. And obviously Astralis and, the whole Danish scene is a big part of your history. So just in terms of how that's come along, what's your general opinion? What are your thoughts on how Astralis have been doing, especially after adding HLTV now?
Astralis, even when I was there and also after I left, let's just say it's been quite a mess, from coaching to the player signings and probably the overall direction in what they were going for. If I was in Astralis' shoes, I'm not even talking about the sporting director or from the overall, probably from the CEO level, I would say, let's slow it down. Let's not try and be the Astralis that won 4 majors. Let's try and build something generic and organic, which would probably mean a couple of talents. It would mean lowering the expectations a little bit, because I feel like what Astralis is suffering from is the pressure of living up to what we did, winning 4 majors. Yeah, the legacy, and talk about hate watching and all of this, but essentially the players do feel it, like the pressure of, the community isn't with us every time we lose a game. It gets to you. It gets to the players. You can sit there and say, but I don't read it. It doesn't affect me, but at some point it gets to you. And not only off the outside, but also from the inside. And of course, if you don't live up to expectations, your own expectation or the team expectations, it's going to get to you.
Do you think that this reset that you're talking about, or this, pick up talents and kind of start from a lower rung, is still something that they should do even now that they've added HLTV and now that they're trying to, make some steps forward?
I think with the signings they did, they choose a different direction, and they should continue in that direction now.
Would you ever consider going back to that organization as a coach if it was something in the future?
I wouldn't deny it, but that's probably with any team. It would be up to me to have the staff around me, have the support from the upper end, and right now, let's just be honest, I think there is a lot of pressure from also the CEO level because of their finances or the situation they are in right now.
In terms of that Astralis roster, your Astralis roster, most of the players are still playing. You're obviously in an assistant coach role, but then Dupree is now an analyst at the major right now, but he was playing up until recently as well. What do you make of the evolution of the players who are still playing and how that's come along?
Thinking of the OG lineup of Astralis, it's funny how things change, right? It's funny how Dupree is now an analyst, Devices are back at Astralis again. Everyone is different places. And I wouldn't say that any of us are, of course we're not that successful as the OG Astralis times, but I wouldn't say that any of us kept going at the same rate as back when we were flying high, right? And a lot of us had to realize that maybe the motivation wasn't really there to keep on going. I was probably not that motivated to win because I got it all, right? I tried it all, but changing direction or changing to a coaching role definitely got my motivation back, and trying to learn the things that I was taught by myself or another coach, and giving that back to some of the other players or younger players is really giving, for me at least. But Dupree, I mean, he probably found his right place, right? Because he went to analyst, and let's just be honest, Dupree is a really likable person, and I think he enjoys it. I think he enjoys, I don't think he enjoys the camera, but I think he enjoys talking about CS, and yeah, I'm just happy for him to have gone this way, because I think it really suits his style of work, or what the qualities he has.
And lastly, similar vein, one of the people we didn't touch on with the Astralis roster is Zonic, and you've talked a bit about your influences and how you were coached and learning from that. Obviously, Zonic right now has had a lot of criticism levied at him with how Falcons went out the major and just all of these roster changes and still not really being able to win. And actually, they have Monacy, they have Nico, and they still can't get it over the line. Can you tell me about what your experience was like with him coaching you, and just what did he do at Astralis with you, and do you think the criticism that's levied at him now is fair?
Whatever I'm going to say here probably doesn't change the outlook on him from the community. Like, let's just be honest, the hate watching is real. Like, you don't really change that. But from a personal standpoint, and just looking at Zonic individually, I haven't had the chance to know how he works for, how long is that? Probably 5-6 years. Yeah. So however he developed, I wouldn't know. I can only talk about when I was there and what he did then. In that time, he was undisputedly the best coach. And whether other coaches got to him like on the same level or even better, I can't say, because let's just be honest, when people talk in interviews, or the coaches talk in interviews, they have the same filter. They don't want to spill the beans. They don't want to say how they work. But what I can say now is, Nico said that he is the best coach, and you can talk about maybe he's saying this because he's on the team and he needs to show the support to him, but that's what we got. Like, from a result standpoint and just like performance-wise, of course they're not living up to the expectations. Not going to stage 3 of the major is not acceptable for them. I think it's overblown, and it's probably also due to them being a buying team. And for me, just talking personally with Zonic and about Zonic, I think it's too much hate watching. That's just my opinion.
You said he was the best coach in the world back when you were there. Can you explain why? Like, what did he do that made him that?
So I think he pushed his players in a way that wasn't seen in the scene. He developed a meta. I think it was together with us as players and Xyp, of course, but he was really pushy for the nades, the team play, and he had a vision for it. So developing that, and also getting a team together, knowing how to utilize the staff around him, made him a good coach back then.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.